The whole chess community considers Paul Morphy to be one of the best players in the entire history of chess, and in this video I want to show you why. If you want to improve your chess, improve your understanding, that's a perfect masterpiece for you to watch. So, let's get started. Paul Morphy played this game as white. The game started with e4, e5, knight f3 and d6. That is known as a Philidor defense. It was a very popular opening back at the times, and well, some players like myself are playing it still today. So white is playing here d4, immediately attacking this pawn because you see there are two attackers and only one defender. And that's the first lesson that you need to learn out of this game. You should always try to create as many difficulties for your opponent as possible, because, well, if you play simply, if you don't create any threats, then it's also simple for your opponent. So this way you're doing something useful, you're fighting for the center, you're opening up the bishop, but also you're asking this question, and now black has to do something about it, either take it or defend it. Yeah, that's a problem to solve. Well, the way black solved it is playing bishop to g4, creating the spin here, and saying that, well, your knight is now not really attacking the pawn because it's pinned, it can't take it. But the problem with that is the knight is pinned because there is a queen. Of course, you don't want to lose your queen, but white takes. And now if you take back, then the queens are going off the board, and so there is no pin anymore. And suddenly white can just take this pawn, that's an extra pawn, and basically a completely winning position here for white. So black realized that when white took on e5 and played bishop takes f3, just removing this attacker in the first place and not allowing white to capture the pawn. But the drawback is that now white has a pair of bishops. And in the open position, and this one is definitely an open one, a pair of bishops is a huge advantage because, well, the bishop can just attack, the bishop can be so dangerous, and the knight couldn't really handle all of the threats because where the bishop is standing on d3, for example, it's attacking both ways. The knight can't really deal with both of the sides. So that is why bishop is much stronger when there is some open diagonals, some targets to attack, and that is exactly the case. And let's see how Paul Morphy converted this to bishop's advantage. D takes e, and now white has to continue the development. White played bishop c4, which is immediately creating another threat, checkmate in one threat, queen takes f7, using the fact that, well, the bishops are beautiful here, and black has no light squares bishop to counter attack. So knight f6, now defending this f7 pawn, blocking the queen, and also developing a piece, so seems to be logical. But unfortunately for black, white has now this move queen to b3, which is once again attacking this f7 pawn now from the diagonal, but also attacking the b7 pawn, and there is basically no way to save both of them. Black played here queen to e7, defending the f7 pawn, thinking that, well, this one is more important because that's where the king is, I don't want to get checkmated. So queen e7, defending that, but now the b7 can be taken. But Paul Morphy says, I don't care about this pawn for now, I just want to bring even more pieces to the game and be as active as I can. And that's exactly what I always teach you, to develop your pieces as fast as possible. So the problem with queen takes b7, that's a very good move, but queen to b4 check would provoke the queen straight, and there is no way to escape it. And of course, white is a pawn up, the position is very good, but considering the fact that white's development is better and black's king is more vulnerable, Paul just said, well, I'm gonna develop the knight, the pawn is still hanging, and the knight might jump somewhere, so it's still very annoying here for black. Black played c6, now the queen is defending this b7 pawn, which is of course a good thing, but still, bishop g5, developing yet another piece. Now you could see that there are already 3 developed minor pieces for white, and all of them are incredibly active, whereas black has only developed the knight in terms of minor pieces, and, well, this knight can't really go to d7, which would be a desirable square, because the b7 would be hanging. So that is why black played b5, hoping that, well, now white should go away, and then knight d7, and everything more or less normal. But that's not what happened, because Paul Morphy didn't want to go back, so maybe you can find the right move here for white. Okay, so the move is knight takes b5. White is sacrificing the piece here, and the point is, of course, to get to the king, because the king is very vulnerable, it's still in the center, and white's development is beautiful. So let's see, knight to d7, and now once again, try to pause the video for a second and find the best move for white, because it's a very important moment. Okay, I hope you found it. It's once again a developing move. Development is always the key. So here, white just castles. Now, the king is completely safe here. And more importantly, the rook is active at the same time. So yet another piece is now participating in the attack. Now there are bishops, there is a queen, and there is a rook attacking black's side. And well, the king is still very vulnerable in the center. The knight is pinned, this knight is pinned, so yeah, there are a lot of difficulties in the position. Rook to d8, black tries to defend it and saying that, okay, I just need a few moves and I'm gonna finish my development, I'm gonna castle, and well, everything is gonna be fine. But, well, maybe you can pause the video and find the best move here for white, as white is completely crushing. Hopefully you have found it. The right move is rook takes d7, because yeah, white has so much advantage in terms of the development here that absolutely white has to use it. Remember one thing about the initiative: if you have it, you must use it. Otherwise it's gonna just disappear. I mean, in case, for example, black would escape with the king, make the castles, then you don't have anything at all. So white has to do it right now. Rook takes d7, rook takes d7. What is the follow-up? What was your idea? Maybe you can stop here for a second too and find the next best move. Okay, hopefully it's clear for you at this point what to do, because that's what I'm telling you throughout the whole game. Developing is the king, so here rook to d1, finishing the development and winning the game, because well, those bishop and rook are not participating in the game at all. So for now, white is basically having an extra piece. Like if you count all of the pieces, then black has an extra rook. But if you only count the pieces that actually take part in the game, and that's all that matters at the right moment, then white has an extra bishop here. And so that decides the game, because there is no way to save everything. Now, queen goes to e6. Well, the rook is pinned, it can go anyway, and the bishop wanted to go like to e7 and castles once again, but there is unfortunately no time. Now bishop takes d7, knight takes d7, only move, and now please find the final blow for white here. Okay, hopefully it wasn't difficult for you. It's queen to b8, check, and well, sacrificing the whole queen. The knight takes, that's the only move, otherwise the king has nowhere to go. Now rook d8, checkmate. Now black has an entire extra queen and knight on the board, but it doesn't matter at all, as white is delivering a checkmate here. Now, I hope this game was instructive for you and you have learned something out of today's video. Let me know in the comments, please, whether you consider Paul Morphy to be one of the greatest, and in this video I show you the most incredible game of my entire life, and I promise it's gonna blow your mind.